GM, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today is Saturday, the 7th of December. So let's jump straight into it. And as you can see, Bitcoin has pushed temporarily back above 100,000. We're back below it now. But like I said yesterday, I asked the question, did I think that Bitcoin had topped? And I said my answer was no. I do think we will push on higher. And obviously, it's encouraging to see that Bitcoin has now got back towards that $100,000 level and is currently consolidating just below. But I think likely by the close tomorrow night, we could be back above that $100,000 level and looking to push on a lot higher over the next few weeks. So just looking at some further information to support this, obviously we talked yesterday, there were these liquidations above price, and also we called these liquidations back above the actual all-time high, above this 104,000 high that we saw back a few days ago. So we are starting to see liquidations now pile up just above yesterday's high. And this would lead me to believe that I do think that the price over the next few days will probably come and break out from this high from yesterday, which should take us back to the highs around about 104,000. And from there, if we just go onto the weekly view, we'll probably see that liquidations are sort of stacked up there. I mean, we've got some here. We've not got a huge amount. Maybe on the 3-day. I mean, yeah, the 3-day is probably the best time frame to look at these. We do have these liquidations now just above the all-time high, really running all the way up to around about 110,000. Now, I've said in terms of a target that I'm looking at for Bitcoin, if we just go over to this chart here, where we've got the path, I've said we might come up now to 113,000, which is our 2.618 fib level. So obviously we got up to the 1.618. We had a bit of a consolidation. Price remains strong. And after it breaks through that level, our next target is going to be this 2.618. So look, I can see Bitcoin going there really over the next week or two in December. And potentially that provides our top for this year. And then we see some sort of consolidation in January, and then maybe we run again. I mean, looking at targets onwards and upwards from there, we're looking at around about 137,000. Can Bitcoin do that? I think it probably can. Maybe not this month, but maybe over the next sort of 2 to 3 months, that might end up being a target that we go for. I will come up with a video very shortly, just looking at where I think Bitcoin will go for this cycle in terms of bull market targets. So that's when I'll probably do some greater analysis into where are the macro cycle targets for Bitcoin. But just for now, like I say, we need to play this market level to level. And I think personally, the 2.618 is a real possibility this month. Like I say, it's not too much further from where we currently are on price. If we just grab where the price is right now and move that up to that level, we're looking at about another 13.5% to get there. So this is definitely possible for Bitcoin. If we also just look at the funding rate heat map, so I've said that this funding rate heat map will be an indicator that I'm looking at for certainly leverage positions and getting out of leverage positions. We can move this slider a little bit lower actually to see if it can give us this sort of just gives us a bit more color on the chart. So if we move it to around about 130, we can see that, look, we are getting some sort of yellow, tiny bit of orange here, but certainly nothing like what we saw at the macro high at the start of this year or earlier this year in Q1, at the end of Q1. And yeah, was sort of resembling where we were last December. And from last December, we continued to push on over the course of the next sort of sort of 2 to 3 months, we continue to rally on from there. And just going back and looking at where this was, we can see that in December, things kind of cooled off. We made this high, but this was really just consolidation. And then this is when things really started to get overheated, running into the mid to the end of March. So we can kind of see things really cooled off in December and January time as a result of consolidation. And I think people probably thought, look, the trend's starting to slow down, so maybe it's a good idea to close some leverage trades, and then we were able to push on, obviously, to much higher prices. So in terms of my leverage position, personally, I'm waiting until we see something like this. Maybe I'll scale back a little bit at the end of this month if we get that push in Bitcoin to 113,000 and we see another decent leg up in the altcoins. But for me, at where we currently are right now, there is absolutely no need for me to close any leverage positions. And certainly with just that goes for Bitcoin, but also the other majors and also altcoins. And if we take a look at Bitcoin dominance, I was expecting a little bit more of a throwback when Bitcoin got above 100,000. And I guess you could say that we are still sort of fighting with that $100,000 level. So potentially, if we do get the move over the next week or two up to 113,000, Bitcoin could steal the spotlight again, and we might get this push up. And I think this would be the ideal opportunity, probably to either take some profit on Bitcoin leverage longs or rotate some spot Bitcoin into more altcoin exposure in anticipation of what should be a full-blown alt season, which I really believe we're on the cusp of. And potentially this comes in Q1 of next year. Obviously, I've talked about things like Ethereum tending to outperform Bitcoin in Q1 of each year. Bitcoin tends to see its best performance in Q4. So I'm very much expecting up until the end of this year into January, Bitcoin to continue to be strong. And then maybe it goes through a longer period of consolidation, hopefully above 100,000. And we really see alts begin to take off. Obviously, they're already starting to take off, but I'm expecting we get a full-blown alt season very soon. Obviously, Ethereum here is taking out that trend line. So now it's had a big daily close above it. Obviously, we've got a day and a half left until the next weekly close. So if we can get a weekly close tomorrow night above this descending trend line and even better above this $4,000 handle, I think that Ethereum will be way on its way to coming back up to its all-time highs. So that's Ethereum. Ethereum looking strong. Still like it as a catch-up trade. Solana also still consolidating just below all-time highs. No massive update really for Solana here. Just, I said I've been buying in on spot to increase my Solana holdings. I personally think that Solana meme coins are looking pretty cheap, pretty beaten up at the moment. So some of my Solana that I've been adding has been going into those. Other bits of the Solana have been added to Solana longs, and the rest I will just hold in Solana spot. So yeah, I'm feeling fairly confident that Solana will start to make its way back to its all-time highs and break out potentially by the end of this year, if not very early on next year. And obviously another one of our favorites that we like to review on these daily GMs is Pepe, and Pepe doing its thing, starting to grind higher since its low, which was coming back in to retest the previous all-time high. It's flipped that to support and it's back above its 20-day moving average. So I think Pepe is likely to definitely push on from here, and I see another Pepe breakout coming again, probably over the next month or two. So yeah, that's it really. Let's just check in quickly on traditional markets. Obviously, they're closed with it being the weekend, but the dollar still finding support at this descending channel line, which it broke out from last month. So potentially the dollar will go sideways here for a bit before maybe coming down a bit lower over the next few weeks and months. We'll have to see what the next Fed meeting says. I think that will probably give the dollar some direction. or more direction, shall we say. Stock markets. So if we just go onto the weekly, because obviously we've now had a weekly close, weekly new closing all-time highs for the S&P, the same for the Nasdaq. So stock market's looking really, really strong. I'd expect Bitcoin to probably also close the week fairly strong. We can obviously look at the CME futures, and we can see here the CME futures closing above 102,000 for Bitcoin. So that's a really, really strong weekly close for Bitcoin on the CME futures. And I likely expect that the spot markets close also above 100,000. I think probably come tomorrow evening, we should see Bitcoin sort of push up again and hopefully get that close above $100,000, which should obviously be a record-breaking close for Bitcoin. And from there, that will set us up very, very nicely, probably for continuation over the next week. So I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed this stream, please do like, subscribe if not done so already. I'm going to be releasing another video later today, which is going to be 5 altcoin picks. So obviously, Bitcoin's already moved a lot. Ethereum's started to make its move. Solana's pretty much back at its recent all-time highs, but there are other opportunities within the altcoin space that I think are good for right now, i.e., you can get in and pull the trigger on those right now. I've been pulling the trigger over the last day on the coins I'm going to talk about in that video later. So if you like that one, I'm going to upload it in a couple of hours' time. And that's it from me. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will speak to you all again soon. GM.